Hello, my dear friends. This is Maria, and I really wanted to share today my biggest fear I had since I lost my husband 3 years ago. The fear was when I was looking at my kids, knowing that they already lost their father. I was so scared of what if something happens to me too, and that fear was in my head constantly. I was so stressed. I was conquered by it, and knowing how important it is to have good positive thoughts, because our thoughts build our tomorrow, build our reality. I could not keep this fear, so I needed to do something. I knew I needed to do something, and I decided that a good switch would be to switch from that fear, which is a very low frequency feeling, to switch it to the high frequency feeling, which is a gratitude. And I realized that if I thank God for keeping us safe and protected instead, that would be something that completely turned my thing around. And what I started doing is every time I have this thought in my head, I was like, Maria, catch this thought, acknowledge it. Yes, I'm scared right now, but I choose to feel gratitude for knowing that God is taking care of us. And I even created like a mantra that I was repeating every time I had this thought, that fear in my head. And every morning when I was waking up, I was repeating it over and over. So I practically convinced myself. It was like an affirmation. So, and several times I can tell that it worked. And I'm sure it works in general, but my several examples are, I remember my younger son was riding a bicycle. He just learned how to ride a bicycle, and we went for a walk together. He was riding a bicycle, and he decided that he wants to speed up a little. And then next thing I remember, the whole bicycle like flipped around and turned around, and he's on the ground. And I was like, oh, he's gonna get so much hurt. I come up, I push his whatever dirt and everything. See, and the thing is, there was not a single scratch. And another story is my other son, my older son, was riding a zip line that we have in our backyard, and it goes through the whole backyard behind the fence, and there is a landing on the tree. And he was riding that zip line, and somehow he decided he didn't count the timing right, and he wanted to jump off. I don't know what he was doing, but he happened to like jump off too early, and he fell, and he flipped in the air. He's saying he fell in between the fence and the tree. And same thing, not a single scrape, not a single scratch, not a single bruise. So I was like, wow, that's working. It's working so well. And every time something happens, or every time I have this thought again, I switch it and I turn it around almost. And one more time, this was one of the another example of a miracle that happened. 2022, I think late July. I remember being at home in the morning, and it started raining. And then it started raining so heavy. We happened to have like 2 hours of like a torrential downpour. It was raining so much and so heavy for 2 hours. And I remember I was looking outside, and I was like, wow, this is a pretty scary rain. And 2 years ago, 2 years before that, we had a super major flooding, which our backyard kind of was underwater. Our garage got damaged. My husband was still here, so he actually was the one who did all the repairs, and he switched the drywall in the garage and things like that. So it was pretty stressed time for me watching this rain, but I remember my mantra. And I remember 2 hours, the rain started slowing down. My father-in-law calls me, and he's like, Maria, are you okay? Is your house okay? Because the neighbor's house, and my father-in-law lives in the same neighborhood that I do, he said that he got 3 inches of water in the house. The water is coming from the road. And I was like, wow, 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 what am I gonna do? So when the rain started slowing down, I went to the garage, and that's the area that's in our backyard. It's detached, and that's the area that got super bad flooded with that first flooding in 2019. I walk inside and everything's dry. Like there's not a single little puddle of water. So I was like, oh, thank you, thank you. And then I went to the front, and you know how like each house has a ditch? So our ditch is covered, and the neighbors from across the street, their ditch is covered too. So there's that little area where the water's supposed to go. And I look there and I see the water is splashing out of there. It was such a rain. I guess all these ditches got filled up, so the water was actually pouring out of that area and spraying almost around. And I see like this is our house. This is house from across the street. That's where the water is spraying. One huge stream of water going all the way around that area, and the other stream of water going all around that area. And our house is just like a bubble of safety safety and protection. And I was like, wow, it really really works. And not that I was doubting that it works, but it was another it gave me another reassurance that we are protected, we are safe and protected by Divine Father, who is personally taking care of us, because I'm asking him. And I even wrote down my affirmation, my mantra that I say every time I have a bad thought. I'm going to read it to you guys because I normally say it in my native language. So to say it in English, I actually wrote it down. So I say, thank you, dear God, so much for taking full care and protecting us, and for making sure we are always in safety and in good health, for protecting our home and cars. And thank you for having any negative external influences always bypass us. And what happens when you turn into gratitude? Your vibrational frequency goes up, and you are in a state of mind where you experience something good emotion. And it's actually very important to even try to feel how good it is to be protected. And I almost even like have a relief every time I say it. I know that, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about this anymore. God is taking care of me. And that helped me so much with that fear, because that was so devastating to understand that my kids lost their father and he would not be there for them anymore. But this little thing that happened after, it's kind of, I have a feeling that we have a guardian angel right now. And besides that, there is also God, who is always protecting, who is always caring, who right now takes a first priority of taking care of us because I asked him to. So I hope that helped, because I know it's a bad feeling to have a fear in your head all the time. And us women who lost their spouse or even like single mothers, single parents, you know, when the things like that, thoughts like that coming in your head, that brings your vibrational frequency down. And that's when, unfortunately, we attract bad things in life. So not to have that, use this wonderful mantra and know that everything will be okay. And every time something like that happens, when you realize that you are protected, like you have like a little bubble of safety around you, and that makes you feel good, and the gratitude just keeps rising keeps bringing you up. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope that that could help actually, you know, fighting any fear, any bad emotion. Even we can always switch to like, okay, what can I be grateful for right now? And there's so many things we can be grateful for every single day. So gratitude, I love gratitude so much. And it's, you know, it's not just for when the bad things happen. it's kind of, it's something that I do every day, multiple times a day even. And every time I'm about to do something that kind of scares me, like for example, I'm not a very confident driver in the places I don't know. I sit down in the car, I know I have to drive my boys somewhere, and I'm like, okay, thanks God for protecting us, and I do my mantra, and whew, okay, now I'll be okay, I'll be safe. So that's all for today, and if you like the video, feel free to write me a comment, put a like, subscribe. I'll be recording more videos very soon, and hopefully we'll see you again.